Welcome to this edition of Backstage Pass with Lia Chang. I'm your host, Lia Chang. Today, I got to tag along with Arlan Huang as he gave a tour of his glass sculptures at MoMA PS1 to Asianish.
Arlan is really a gem.
Okay, I just wanted to welcome you to the Greater New York show. It's a tremendous show. You can't see it in one day, it's so much stuff. And there's a lot of Asian Americans, Asianish artists in this show. From everywhere, from China, Japan, everywhere. But I am so glad that Asianish is here because it really makes doing this show worth it. I love Asianish. I love the name. I love that you're not a 501c3, right? And I love that if you show up, you're part of the group. And it's really like what Godzilla was a long time ago. If you don't know, I was with this group called Godzilla. It was Asian American Arts Network. Aha. So these pieces are 33 years old. I mean, I know some of you are not 33 yet, right? So, and you are the inheritors of this history. This was Godzilla's first show, and it was at Artist Space. And it was called the New World Order 3, the Curio Shop. And it was like Godzilla's coming out party. It was an announcement that we're here, we're present and accounted for, and we're dealing with American identity, international colonialism, and free expression. So what I mean by inheritors is that because this is 33 years ago, you actually get a chance to measure the distance from 33 years ago to what you're doing now as Asian American artists, and the Asian American artists that are in this room. So it's very different. I don't know if it matters to you or if it's important to you, but it's yours. Now that you're in this room, you have it no matter what. So we have history. And you do with it what you want. The three pieces that were in the curio shop were the hand over there, this piece, and that piece over there. So at the time, there was this writer, Edward Said. Who knows Edward Said?
Yes.
All right. Wrote the book Orientalism. So it was new. And so what happened was that what we were trying to do was to deal with what he was writing about. And the word Orientalism put a name to the oppression that we were under. Now, these pieces are called Orientalism in a jar. So you could view it as, if you view these jars as Orientalism, it is the jar that holds the content. So the content is various ideas that I had at the time about my family. It's all very personal stuff. As an example, this piece, that piece over there, the content is my grandmother and my mother and how they were longtime San Francisco Chinatown activists. My grandma in the 30s raised all the money for the Chinese YMCA, and they bought the building, and now it's the Historical Society of San Francisco. And then my mother was always in the church and always doing activities. So the cover of Orientalism and woman, it affects me, right? As I'm growing up, I grew up with all the stereotypes of Asian women. So then how do you rectify this? You got Anime Wong and all these other women, and then you have my mom and my grandma. They do all these different things. So it took me a long time to rectify it, but part of reading Edward Said gave me the foundation to try to deal with it. So on the outside, it's all about the stereotypes, the Orientalism that keeps my family's history in a bottle. So the kimonos and things are also part of the sexuality that I believe, but Asian woman, right? So it's a long struggle. This one also, this had to do with my grandfather. This one here, again, I wanted to make these forms so that they were almost ugly, that they were so ugly and so repugnant that you had to look at it. You can't take your eyes off of it. So it's sort of like this repugnant beauty that I'm trying to do. It's sort of like sometimes you look at Vogue models, right? Sometimes they're really weird looking, right? But then there's this sort of elegant beauty to it. So this is what I was sort of after, so that you can't take your eyes off, you have to look at it. And you have to go, oh shit, what is that? The hand is a story that comes out of Chinatown. I grew up in Chinatown. And as a kid, I had always heard that the Tongs, the family associates, during Tong Wars, the winners would take parts of the enemy, hands, ears, nose, and things like that. And this went around Chinatown for my whole life.
Wow.
When I came to New York, I heard the same stories, but nobody had ever seen one. Right? It's a myth.
Yeah.
But it's a myth that is also part of Orientalism, and it's a myth that's put on me by my own people. So I have to get over that too. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to make one.
Wow.
And let it go from there. So these were in the curio shop. The other ones, the skulls, they're a bit different. They came about 3 years after that. And the skulls they're actually a tribute to Chinese people and how Chinese people put dried sea life in jars, right? Always got this stuff that's in jars, right? Dry scallops, dry shrimps. So that's an homage to them, us. Oh, the one over there, the copper pieces, that belongs to my grandmother on my father's side. So she came in 1923, immigrant, doesn't speak English, doesn't write Chinese, doesn't, peasant woman. They had 6 kids, and she supplemented their income by being a bootlegger. So those 2 copper are stills. They're huge. When you go to a Chinese family's house, they have this little still that they put on the stove, right? And they make the, rice wine. But she was making money. And then one time I asked my grandfather about the whiskey because he had a couple of bottles left, and he said, no, she was making corn whiskey. Corn whiskey is moonshine. It's called White Lightning. So she was really the real deal.
Is that what's in there? What's the liquid?
Yes, this is wine in there. Yeah. So there's wine in the other one too, representing my grandmother. But also it's the same concept where the bottle is an exotic bottle with a stereotype dragon on it. and it contains the life of my grandmother.
What can you talk about the material, like the hand?
The hand is silicone. Everything is blown glass. I started blowing glass in 1992 because I had painter's block. Anybody painters there?
Yeah, quite
All
a
right,
few.
man, you run into problems, you know. And so I had this painter's block. I had these friends who were glass blowers, and they said, "Hey, come on down to the experimental glass workshop." I said, "Hey, I don't know how to blow glass." I said, "Don't worry about it. You get this residency, and they give you a glass blower." So they gave me my friend, who gave me the pipe, and said, "Go ahead, go at it." And that's how I learned how to blow glass. The minute I put the pipe into the glass, man, I knew it was magic. It was so incredible. Yeah. So for about over 10 years, my friend and some other people, we were a team, and my team blew all these pieces and more. We had two public projects that we worked on, 3. So we worked for a long time. My team is still around, but I don't blow anymore. I'm just too old. It's too hot.
I remember the first time that I saw your work. I think.
And it's only a few years ago that someone said to me, "Why do they have to be together? They're just separate." And so what actually happened was that I sort of find this middle road now, which is it's free expression, but I don't know if you know this, but I do not aspire to be in the art world. I don't want to be in it, and I don't want to be called. I don't want to be any shows. The only place I want to show is Pearl River and Think Chinatown. It's the only place I want to show. I think the art that I'm doing, it's for us, right? It's for me, it's for you, and I'm not making an art that is for the art world. I don't aspire to that, and I do not want to dialogue with that at all. So, one distance that we've traveled since 33 years ago was that Godzilla went up to the Whitney and spoke to the director and said, "There are no Asian Americans in the biennial. You have to rectify this." His answer was, "Well, you're not on the menu. You know, fuck you, you know."
Was this in 1993?
Yeah, it was David Ross. So since then, what was it? 3 months ago, I went to the Museum of Modern Art. Ruth Azawa on one floor. Wilfredo Lamb on the second floor. And then a couple of weeks later, Amanda from Baribopkia is in the hallway. So that's how far it's come.
And Ruth's exhibition was the largest collection by a woman, not by an Asian woman. The largest collection by a woman. That whole survey.
Really? It was incredible.
Yeah, it was extraordinary.
Yeah. So, yes. Yeah, so that's come a long ways. How many blue chip galleries show Asian Americans? Plenty. Right. So if you're into that, you want to aspire to that, it's there, it's waiting for you. But I'm another choice, right? I don't think all Asian American artists are the same. Godzilla was, people who aspired to be Museum of Modern Art. Some people just wanted to do community things, and a few artists, myself included, just went along with the ride with Godzilla about showing, but really our hearts were always showing in the community. So you have choice. You don't want everybody, yes?
Well, I don't want to take us off the topic.
Take it.
But I'm really curious to hear you talk, or do you not want to talk about your painting practice? Because I love your paintings, personally speaking, and I'd love to see more of them.
Okay.
And I want to know, do you feel like your three-dimensional sculptural work is a little different? Like I feel like with
Yes.
your painting work, that's a little more sort of almost philosophical or like mystical, you know, it can go in different realms.
Yes.
Whereas this feels more like rooted in specific personal stories
Yes.
and narratives. So
Right.
I want, like, how
Right.
do the two connect, or,
Right.
you know, how do you see those two practices are as different or parallel, or how do you?
I think they complement each other because glass blowing is a team sport, right? You have to have people around you.
Right.
And if you're not dancing all in the same step, man, it is a disaster. So having a great team who, you know, you're actually working creatively with a group, right? You're actually communicating the creativity as you blow. Painting is solitary.
Yeah.
You know, you're just there by yourself
Yeah.
doing something. So the two complemented, and it was a fun type of mental exercise in terms of creativity. But I think a lot of the things I do for political art, things that have to do with the community, gets balanced out by painting. You know, I think a lot of times for me, through the years, you do all this political work, you do things that have to do with whatever you have to do to put yourself in the picture. You forget why you actually do art.
Yeah.
You know? And so when I paint is when I'm exercising my First Amendment right. My right to express myself any way I want. So yeah, painting is fun.
Yeah. I found it really profound that you had such a clarity of vision about who you make your work for.
Mm-hmm.
And I was curious when that arrived for you and whether there was a moment, an event, or a revelation over time. I just love to hear more about that.
Yes, I think it was always on my mind. You know how there's things that are always on your mind, there's things that are always kind of percolating, but you can't put words to it, or you can't clarify what's happening. Maybe about, you know, just 7 years ago, you know Jack Chen?
I worked with Jack for
Oh, okay. So Jack's over. Jack was the first director, the founder of the History Project, which turned into the Museum of Chinese in Americas. Boo. In the beginning, you know, it's great. So anyway, Jack's over my studio about 7 years ago, and I just somehow I blurted out, say, "Hey, Jack, you know my art is more Asian American than it's ever been." And I said that, and I said, "Why did I say that? I don't even know what that means." And so that was the beginning of things sort of clarifying in my mind exactly who I make art for, and how I see things. So that's the beginning of not seeing what the art world wants, but seeing through Asian American eyes, right? Seeing through Asian American eyes is our history, is how we grew up. It's this weave. This happens every time. It's this weave that we have as Asian American artists, as Asianists, that goes back years and years. It goes back to your family. When I say this is part of your inheritance, this is your history, that's what that weave is about. And it's yours if you want it. I can tell you that the art world does not want that history. They want to separate it, but they want your art, right? They want to sell your art, but they don't really care about your history, right? And that's part of the colonial part of the art world that I just despise. And I just won't kneel to that anymore. And let me tell you, man, it feels great. I don't sell any work, but you know. Yes.
I have a question for you. Like growing up, what was art for you? Like how was that in your community? How was that reflected to you for being an artist?
My parents were always supportive. They let me do anything I wanted. Always wanted to draw, they let me draw. My mother's best friend was an art teacher, right? It's this Chinese woman who looked like a beatnik, right, when I was a kid. Right? I said, wow. black turtleneck and long hair. And every Christmas, she would start giving me these books, little pocket children's book on Picasso, on Monet, Manet, all this stuff. So ever since I was a kid, I had always been involved in looking at this stuff. And then in my parents' home, they got this one picture, which is a Chinese painting. It's like 6 pigeons or something represents their family, and this beautiful painting. And it's wow, what is this? And so it's a Chinese painting, and Gordon Chang?
Yes.
So it turns out that painting was done by his father.
Wow. I didn't know.
I had a friend, a Japanese architect, who happens to be, he was in the camps, and he was a no-no boy. No-no boys? They were the ones who protested and did not sign the forms that the American government asked them to sign as a loyalty form. And he refused to sign it, and so they was punished. And they were called no-no boys because they say no on the two items that the government asked them to sign. So you had to sign that document in order to go to war for the government in the 442. So, you think about that. That's nuts. Anyway, so he's a no-no boy. He was a rebel. When I knew him, he was already in his 50s. But he fished, and I fished, and then he took me and my partners out to the beach to surf cast. It's huge rods, and you go at night, and that's what we did. So getting back to painting, surf casting is pretty much just like painting to me. It's an act of faith. You paint and it's an act of faith. When you fish, it's just the middle of the night, and you have this huge rod, and you throw this piece of plastic or steel in the water, and you have this faith that a fish is gonna eat it. And it does. Yeah. Although I'm so old, I can't really do that surf casting, so I go on a couple of boats now. And these fish, one was caught by my partner, the other one was caught by me. The fish were caught many, many years ago. These fish are illegal now. You can't keep these anymore.
How big was it?
One of them, this big one, is 46 pounds. This one was 32 pounds. They're huge.
You ate them?
Yeah.
Arlan, since you mentioned think Chinatown or Pearl River, do you mind sharing? How do you end up sharing here at PS1?
Oh, well, I got this email from this curator at PS1, Kari Rickenbach, and she wanted to do a studio visit. And I looked at it and said, I do not want to speak to another young white curator. This is my prejudice. So I ignored it. I got another email from her. I ignored that one. And then a third one came, and she said that you were recommended by Howie Chen. I said, oh, I can't diss Howie. So I said, okay, come on over. And when she came to the door and I opened it, I was so embarrassed, because when I saw her, I knew she was mixed. And so she's, her mother's Filipino, her father is German. I said, oh my God. An embarrassing moment. So anyway, we had a great studio visit, and she convinced me that she had some of the same values I did about institution, but she thought that she could make some changes. And she convinced me to support her. So I said, okay, we'll do it. But I also wanted the label, because I know what happens when you do these big shows, that you you're going to get caught in the system, and you're going to get separated, and you can't quite bring in the community that you want. So I asked her, on my label, I want to get all the organizations that support me, which includes Asianish, Think Chinatown, A4, Bob's Group. What do they call it? Asian American Arts Center, right? So I want all the names up there. And of course, he said, well, we can't fit them all on. All right. So I'm so glad you're here. Because I think...
Yeah, thank you.
So I want you all to know that, you could like this, you don't like it, it's fine. The only ask is that you raise the bar for the next generation. We have history. We stand on rich earth. So thank you very much for all coming. And we love you madly. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me for this edition of Backstage Pass with Lia Chang. Until next time.